Let's talk about influencer Jaclyn Hill and her controversial weight loss journey. Hi, I'm Ana Paula Bermeo, clinical psychologist, and on this channel we talk about various topics and we analyze them from a psychological point of view. So if you're interested, please keep on watching. Before starting this video, I want to remind you that I give in-person and online therapy. So if you need a consultation, please feel free to reach me out on my social media, my phone number, my email. All of them will be listed down below on the description box as well. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It will help me out a lot. And if there is a specific topic that you would like me to talk about, leave it in the comments down below or feel free to DM me on my Instagram. I'm always open to suggestions and I love interacting with you all. I was working on a video about JoJo Siwa, which hopefully I will have ready for next week because I dropped it to make this video and for a good reason. If you don't know who Jaclyn Hill is, well, she's a long-time influencer, one of the OG beauty creators here on YouTube. She's been on social media for more than a decade already, and you bet said career has come with a bunch of controversies as well, including the infamous hairy lipsticks incident or being accused of stealing brand names from smaller creators. But that's not what we're talking about today because we're going to be discussing her weight loss journey. And just as a disclaimer, this is not a body diet shaming video. As a psychologist, I just want to bring awareness about the excessive use of GLP-1s these days, beauty standards, EDs, body dysmorphia, because all of those can affect one's mental health. And also, I want to say that I'm not demonizing GLP-1s. They could be useful for plenty of people with particular health issues, but as everything, they are meant to serve a specific demographic, not individuals that just want to be skinny. We'll be talking about it on this video though. And I want to add that for the sake of preventing a copyright claim, I won't be putting any clips from any video in here, but I will leave the links down below as always in the description box. Anyway, despite Jaclyn Hill being one of the most popular, successful creators in the beauty world, objectively speaking, there is something that has been a burden for her to finally feel accomplished in her life: her weight. She has been trying to lose it for a long time now, as that has been one of the things she's been the more self-conscious and insecure about. Actually, she started a weight loss series back in 2021 to hold herself accountable. How do I know? Because I watched tons of videos from other creators as Frumpy Feet or Abby Sharp reacting to that content due to how over the top it was. And I do have to mention this part of Jaclyn's life, even if it's briefly, because thanks to that digital print, I can confirm her need to lose weight has been there for ages already, turning it into something like an obsession. It has explicitly shown her battle with body image, her all of nothing mentality, reason why she has been yo-yo dieting for such a long time, and because in those blogs she touched the topic of alcohol dependence, the one that she was suffering from during that time as well, which later was displaced to a sugar dependence, which played a huge part on the difficulty she's had to drop numbers on the scale. Overall, in those videos that she posted in 2021 all the way to the beginning of 2024, she tried all the things you can imagine to lose weight, but she wasn't consistent because everything was taken to an extreme, hoping to get immediate results in a matter of days, which is not sustainable when you're trying to lose weight and keep it off, as the goal is to maintain it by creating habits, a lifestyle, which she didn't do throughout those series. She found a diet and exercise routine. She got really excited at first. She gave her everything and she was able to lose some weight, but in the way she found herself feeling miserable and dropping the towel after she overate one day because she was over-restricting, skipped a workout on another as she was exercising in ways she didn't enjoy, or happened to gain half a gram overnight. FYI, regarding this last aspect, she was weighing herself every single day at one point, which sort of discouraged her. That's why it is not recommendable to do that, as our weight fluctuates 24/7 and it can be harmful and frustrating when you're trying to reach a goal weight, whether if it's a higher or a lower number. In the end, it's better to look for things as how clothes are fitting you, how is your workout performance, energy levels, mood, muscle mass, as those could be more motivating than stepping on a changing scale 7 days a week. I gotta give her the credit though, as she was able to leave alcohol and as a consequence lose weight. She said she was an addict back then, but as I said before, more than an addict, I think she was dependent, which are two different things despite them being mixed up very often, as she usually drank for the sake of fitting in and socialize exclusively, and living that habit enabled her to drop a significant amount of weight, which makes sense. Alcohol does make you retain water, overeat when you're hungover, increases cortisol levels, and those make you gain fat. And even when she was overeating sugary stuff instead of having alcoholic drinks, as she narrated in her blogs, in the end they probably weren't as calorically dense as chugging on cocktails very often, which made it possible for her to get thinner. Of course, that came with waves of criticism towards her, as people started accusing Jaclyn of using the GLP-1 medication everyone is putting their hands on, Ozempic. But at that time, she denied it, and actually she also paused her weight loss series as she was moving from one city to another, so we didn't know anything about said topic until May 18th when she posted a 36-minute video titled "I tried a GLP-1 for 3 months." Now, I must say I don't necessarily follow Jaclyn. I got to know about this thanks to OBESE, who posted a 1-hour reaction to Jaclyn's video, which I watched as well. What can I tell you? I'm chronically online, I guess. But is this a specific video from Jaclyn that truly caught my attention, even more than her weight loss series, because of how Jaclyn talks about herself, about the medication she took, diet, exercise. Let's break everything down to make a fair analysis. She began the video with a disclaimer that states the following. This video contains footage of a medical injection and discusses weight loss, body image, and eating disorders. It is intended for informational and personal storytelling purposes only. Viewer discretion is advised. This content is not medical advice. Always consult a licensed healthcare professional before starting or modifying any medication, diet, or exercise plan. Which I really have mixed feelings about as a psychologist. Listen, disclaimers could be useful for those individuals that are 100% able to hold themselves accountable, so they are able to click away from harmful content pieces, but for most normal individuals that have ups and downs 24/7 and that are curious cats by nature, seeing these warnings is just another motivator to keep eating this stuff up, whether if it's useful or damaging, because those statements are screaming forbidden, and if anything, a person will try to break the rules, including watching a video with a trigger warning in the beginning of it. Even more if it's a weight loss video that includes a GLP-1 medication, because being thin seems to be a trend nowadays, so as using semaglutides to achieve set goals. In simpler words, that disclaimer, even if it's sort of appreciated, it might make people want to watch Jaclyn's video as it involves a rising body trend, and she, as a long-time influencer, most likely knows it. However, that's just the beginning. There is a cut to January of 2025 in which she said that since she moved to California, she hasn't been able to lose any weight, and that for her is frustrating because she has been trying every single diet out there. Keto, low carb, to paleo. However, she specified that none of those diets have lasted for more than 20 days. She added that the only thing she wants is to be skinny, so to achieve that, she's been thinking about using Ozempic. First red flag. I don't know if it's just me, but Jaclyn looked completely fine in those clips from January. Let's remember she was able to lose a significant number of pounds already, and it seems that she has been sort of successful at keeping them off. And if anything, instead of looking for a magic pill to drop those 10 to 15 stubborn pounds she was aiming to, the first thing she should have done is look for guidance from a mental health provider. And I'm not saying it just because I'm a psychologist psychologist myself, but because she's been manifesting a circular and dysfunctional pattern regarding her body image and weight before and now with this video, which expose a bad relationship with food and her body. A mentally stable person might take that weight plateau as a sign that there is something else going on, as maybe they've been dieting so hard and their metabolism is screaming to be regulated by adding calories and or lacking nutrients and vitamins to their intake. Maybe it's time to stop focusing on weight only, and it might be better to start a body recomposition process through physical activity and prioritizing protein consumption to build muscle mass, which is more metabolically active than fat. Maybe being so focused on getting skinny is causing them to be extremely stressed, and instead of forcing the body to be in a shape that might not be optimal for them, it might be time to work on their mindset, because that might be making the individual have a distorted body image and negative self-discourse, dysfunctional thoughts that could be generating dysfunctional behaviors as jumping from one diet to another, and that increases stress levels, hormonal imbalances, and trigger mental illnesses. And those are just the shallowest options, because as we've talked before, everyone is different and there might be other individualized reasons why a weight plateau that causes anguish could be a warning to go to therapy and with a nutritionist, dietitian. But as you may have noticed, none of the options are Ozempic, because losing weight or trying to do so could be detrimental for someone's mental health. Jaclyn is a clear example of it, because again, she has been jumping impulsively from diet to diet, restricting for years because she just wants to be thin, and because of that, she's also gotten to the point in which she talks down to herself so much. In her own words, she feels gross so much that she won't even wear a tank top. It's clear that her self-esteem has been on a slippery slope for a long time already, and losing weight with the help of a GLP-1 is not the cure, because even if she was the skinniest legend of all, that mind is still harmful to the point that nothing will satisfy it, and she'll still be hard towards herself, which will only increase the psychological wounds she already has. And just as a proof of that, in the beginning of her video, she said that she'll be the happiest if the GLP-1 she was about to use helped her to lose something, even if it was like 0.5 grams. But then 10 days after starting with the peptide and she didn't drop any weight, she felt frustrated and went back to her doctor to change the type of GLP-1 because there were not results. And after that, she was still dissatisfied when after 1 month she lost 1.5 pounds. As for her, it wasn't enough yet. And aside from that, she probably wasn't even the most optimal candidate to use a GLP-1 to begin with. But she has been so fixated with going back to the weight she was in her 20s, so she went doctor hunting until one out of many gave her what she wanted. She herself said it. And of course, I do encourage patients with chronic, severe illnesses or health issues in general to look for second, third opinions before starting invasive or risky treatments. But in this case, I'm sorry to break it down to you, but if you go to a dozen of doctors and 11 out of those 12 tell you you shouldn't inject a GLP-1, you most likely shouldn't do it. But Jaclyn didn't give a damn about it, because all she has been willing for is to get a body that might not be for her, including using drugs as Ozempic or its equivalents that have plenty of side effects that she didn't even know about because she didn't do enough research before getting into said medications, which just shows how blindsided she's been by her body dysmorphia. Now, she got candid about her relationship with food before and during her GLP-1 journey as well, and just as a spoiler, it's not any better than her body image. We already have a troubling record, as we know she's been on plenty of diets that have harmed Jaclyn's relationship with food, and from psychology before attempting other uncertain strategy to lose weight and keep destroying one's perspective on nutrition is way more relevant to address the main issue, dig deeply until we find the root of the issue, what keeps maintaining this restrictive cycle, what enables or enhances it, what are its consequences. We might even need to do a gradual exposition to foods that could be considered triggers. Sometimes we may want to stop working out, reduce the intensity of the physical activity, change it to a less invasive one depending on the case, because body dysmorphia, EDs, compulsive exercising could go hand in hand, which probably is Jaclyn's case. However, the thing is she's not doing that. Instead, she decided to use a GLP-1 and hope it will help her to fix her relationship with food. I've done a video on how Ozempic or similar substances could ruin your mental health already, link down below, and in it I did say it could be detrimental for people using them and their relationship with food, so it's definitely not helpful for Jaclyn, and her video confirms that. I mean, even if it was unconscious, she made it all seem as another fad diet, because before injecting that GLP-1 for the first time, she literally ordered In-N-Out burgers and that said, I'm doing it because I'll get nauseous and I won't be able to have these, and proceeded to pose with injections and the burger after that, which is the equivalent of doing a massive cheat day on Sunday because you'll begin your diet on Monday. She literally started with the left foot, and that is just another all or nothing behavior, which in the long run will cause her to drop the towel, give up, and more concerning, maybe have binging episodes in the future. On top of that, as I said before, she said she was really excited for this process, claiming she knew it was going to be difficult due to the side effects she investigated about. However, everything went down the sink because in reality, she had no idea Ozempic not only reduces your appetite, but causes dizziness, weakness, disgust, nausea towards food, all of those things that could potentially affect her relationship with food even more than it is. I know many could tell me,
those are just side effects that will last until she stops using the Ozempic medication.
But guys, it is not that simple. If she experiments these symptoms daily because GLP-1s have to be injected constantly, the brain gets conditioned to reject food for the fear of feeling sick, and this continues after stop using these medications as it becomes routinary. In simpler words, these side effects Jaclyn has manifested while using peptides could only make her scared of food, making her feel ill, so she could try to avoid them at all costs, causing her to be malnourished, and if she later happens to eat fear foods because she won't have eaten them in forever, she might enter into a survival state in which she could binge on the foods she has been avoiding, and considering her tumultuous relationship with food, that could end up in another binging, restricting cycle that will do her more damage. And honestly, it is worrying to watch Jaclyn being fully conscious she's been suffering through this experience, that eating without cravings or an appetite has been so depressing that it's not good to feel weak and lightheaded during a workout, but she keeps pushing herself for the sake of being thin. And speaking about her workouts, she didn't show them at all. Nonetheless, she commented she's been going to Pilates, basically wishing they will give her that slim Pilates princess figure TikTok says you'll magically get, and that's just another red flag as she's having unrealistic expectations. Not because Pilates is a bad exercise, by the way, I do them myself, but because she's falling into the trap that one particular exercise will give her a certain type of body, which is not true. Results also depend on nutrition, discipline, genetics, etc. And the only thing she'll most likely get is disappointment, and that will only frustrate her even more over time, causing her to have a more dysfunctional relationship with physical activity as well. Nonetheless, there is something that is even more concerning. She got to her goal weight, but still she was not satisfied because size-wise she wasn't a small but rather a medium, which for her wasn't a change at all, and she still needed to push harder. Yes, she finally wore a tank top and didn't feel gross at the end of her video, and she acknowledged she has felt unhappy, which is not great, but she said she might keep injecting her medication for a couple of months, despite her also claiming not wanting to use GLP-1s forever, as she wants to lose 5 extra pounds. So when she stops using the peptides, she won't bounce back aggressively, which is understandable, but at the same time I wonder if those 5 pounds will actually be enough for Jaclyn, because in the end she didn't solve the most important thing for her to stop this weight loss madness, her mindset. And that's the point I have been aiming to do with this whole analysis. Guys, I know I've called body positivity, fat acceptance out a lot on this channel, but I'm doing the same with Ozempic Skinny Legends because both extremes are equally harmful. But today I'm specifically referring to thickness, force thickness that seems to be trending nowadays. Guys, you, just as Jaclyn, don't have to risk your overall health for the sake of fitting into a mold. Long term, that will only cause you to harm your self-esteem, your relationship with food, with your body, your social life, mood, daily functioning, your organs, everything. When you try to pursue a beauty standard, the only thing you're doing is diminishing yourself, because forcing yourself into a body that is not meant to you as an individual, it makes you be neglective with your well-being in an attempt to satisfy people that most likely don't even care about how your body looks. I'm gonna use a phrase that has been exploited but is accurate. Your body is not a trend. You don't need to harm it to fit into a stereotype that won't last, and it's constantly changing. We've seen it. 2000s thickness was out for the 2010s body positivity, which is being dropped once again for Ozempic bodies, which most likely will be forgotten by 2030 when curves will be in all over again. And if you keep trying to pursue that stereotypical beauty, you won't be happy at all, because you won't ever feel worthy, as you'll be trapped in a disorder cycle forever, and nobody wants that. I know it is hard to ignore the beauty standards, even more these days when we have so much access to social media, a place that bombards us with diets, body checks, workouts, and everything. But the most important thing is reminding ourselves that what's on the internet is just a glimpse of people's life. That aspirational cover they want to show for the sake of being admired, they say nothing about the reality of a normal person's life. Sure, the Kardashians look glamorous with their alleged Ozempic bodies, but we don't really know how miserable they are with all of the side effects they've gotten, or with trying to set beauty standards they themselves cannot keep up with. Yes, those Pilates princesses look so damn cute with their matching attires, with their fit, slim, defined figures, but we don't know if they are suffering from eating disorders to keep those small bodies. In this case, we've analyzed, yes, Jaclyn is finally skinny, but it's still uncertain if she'll be satisfied long term, if she'll be able to keep that weight off, or thanks to her troubled mindset, we'll be watching another controversial weight loss or weight gain journey in the future just for her to attempt fitting into a different trending mold. Overall, the lesson is you don't need to follow dangerous trends to be accepted. If you want to improve health-wise, want to better your body image, self-esteem, metabolism, etc., before jumping into fad internet diets, please look for the guidance of a multidisciplinary team, a dietitian who will help you to build eating habits that adapt to your context, to your body, to your preferences, while maintaining an adequate BMI, muscle mass index, water index, fat according to your own needs, a doctor who will check your hormones are balanced, or will treat any issue you may have as hyperthyroidism, PCOS, gastritis, anything to make sure you're in a good place, a certified coach if you can that will help you to build an exercise routine that you enjoy while simultaneously building muscle and a physical condition that will contribute for a healthy aging process, and last but just as important, a therapist that will help you to set realistic and balanced goals, sustainable habits, to restructure your mindset to a stronger one that will serve you as a shield to protect you from suffering from body dysmorphia, EDs, or disordered eating patterns, toxic beauty standards, that instead will encourage balance and a better processing from these stereotypes, so you'll be able to remain physically and mentally stable despite the madness from the online world that is always changing depending on what's trendy and aesthetically pleasing. Is there something you learned from this video or something that you would like to add to the conversation? Leave it on the comments down below. Also, don't forget to like and share with someone that may find this useful, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that you never miss out from more interesting psychology content. Thanks for watching.